Hi, welcome back to Linux and Unix administration. Today we're going to talk about using Rsync to back up files from one system to another. In this case, we've created a backup server, and it is, it's actually listed as a workstation, and we'll be using that to back up files from a temp security directory. So in here, we have a security directory with, a couple of things in it, archive, audits, whatever, etc. So we've got things in here. We're going to back it up over to the remote system. Well, first thing we're going to do is we're going to share SSH keys. So if you haven't done SSH-Keygen, you'll need to do that first. So SSH-Keygen, which I won't run because I already have keys, will generate your SSH keys. So that allows you to go ahead and create a local set of public and private keys for your account. Now, this is my account that's logged into my system right now, so I'll be creating those keys on my account. Now, on the backup server, we'll be using a backup account to record our information, and we'll be using the backup user. I'll give a brief example of creating a directory, a backup directory in the remote server after we go ahead and create our keys and share our keys. Okay, so the remote system is 192, so I'll go 192.168.56.100. So that is the remote system right there. So I can ping it so everything looks good. Now I'm going to go ahead and try to log in just using SSH. The account is admin-backup because backup generally will have some administrative privileges, so I prefix it with the word admin. So admin-backup at 192.168.56.100. Now, go over and its connection refused. Now, is SSH running on the remote host? These are things that you need to watch out for. So nmap port 22 192.168.56.100. Let's see. Oh, look at that. SSH is not running. So the first thing you have to do is apt-get install SSH on the remote host. So this over here, this is on the backup host right there, like that. And so after we install SSH, we'll be able to actually connect. So in the virtual machine, I'm going to go ahead and install SSH, and I'll bring that up on the screen right away. So now I'm on the backup server. I did an apt-get update, so I got all the updates for the system. Now I'm going to do an apt-get install SSH. It'll say, hey, do you want to install SSH? I'm going to say, yeah, go ahead. Now here's a step you do not need to do on the backup server. I'm going to show you SSH-Keygen on the backup server, but you don't need to do it. I'm just going to show it to you on what you need to do on the server that's connecting to the backup server. So you have to do SSH-Keygen on the server or workstation that will be backed up, but not over on the backup server. So SSH-Keygen, this is what it looks like when you run it. You just press enter through there and just let it do its thing, and there. Now you got your keys are generated, and you have the keys for that account. We're not going to worry about that. That's the root account there, and we have keys generated. It doesn't make any difference. Okay, now flipping back over to our terminal, we are back over to our workstation here that we want to back up. We want to back up the security directory. Let's test that SSH. First of all, I'll do the nmap. Oh, look at there. Yeah, we got SSH now. So let me SSH to the box, and it's asking for the password. Password is password, and there you go. So I'm on the system now. So I type exit, and I'm back out. So I know that SSH works now. I have generated SSH keys on my local workstation. Yes, on a local workstation, I've created the keys. So now I've created those keys, I'm going to share my public key with the backup server. And the way I do that, well, you can actually just copy and paste it. It is that easy. You can copy and paste it into authorized underscore keys. You don't even need any special software. But we're going to go through it the easy app way, which we're going to use ssh-copy-id-i, and it will / whatever that's your home directory. That / means your home. For me, it'd be home, that ppoteete, like that. .ssh like this, and then you'll choose your public key. Just press id_RSA pub. Now, it will probably autocomplete for you. I have a bunch of keys in my directory, so it doesn't autocomplete for me. But if you only have one key, you can just type that -I and then hit your tab key on your keyboard, and it will fill it in completely for you. So it's very nice. Now, after I've told it, this is ssh-copy-id, what key do I want to use? Then I need to tell it, well, I want to send it over where? I want to send it using admin-backup on the remote server, 192.168.56.100. I'll put an extra space in there just so you can see that I'm talking about moving my key, my public key, to the other system. It says, hey, what's the password? Enter password for the password, whatever the password is. Okay, it says done. Number of keys added, 1. Try it out. SSH admin backup. You do not need the single quotes there, so don't type the single quotes. So let's go back over to SSH admin backup. And sure enough, look at that. It logged me directly in. Now I can go over and type cat.ssh. This is on the admin backup account. Authorized keys. And if you look at that, that's my authorized key. That's my public key right there. And so it's no problem sharing your public key with anybody. If you want to use my public key, then that just gives me access to your stuff. so it doesn't. It's not a security risk at all to give people your public key. All right. So I can see that all this authorized keys file is a copy and paste of my key to that system. Just be sure you got the right privileges on that remote system. Now I'm going to exit because I don't need to log into the backup server anymore. I have shared my keys. We have 2 systems that we're working with. One is the workstation, and the other is the backup server. So let's go ahead and back up all of these folders. Now, we use Rsync for this, and normally with backups, you will not be using Rsync-V, which is Rsync-HUVR is kind of the normal thing. Now, that's human readable. If you're looking at human readable sizes, update is update files that are there. R is recursive. V is be verbose, R is recursive, P is preserve permissions, and L is copy symbolic links. So there's some options there for Rsync. Now, --delete means delete the files on the remote host. We'll show what that looks like in just a second. So if I delete monitors over here on my workstation, then I sync it, it will delete monitors over on the backup system, which is just really nice. So let's go ahead and we're going to go through, and instead of being human readable and verbose, we're just going to say, you know what, update and be recursive, because that's all we need. You can put a URL on there, which is update, recursive, and oh my goodness, links on there. And so we'll just say everything in this directory like that, or you can do a .. the directory like that, and don't leave a trailing slash. Now, that's if we have somewhere to put it. Most cases, you'll have somewhere to put it. And so you'll type admin-backup at 192.168.56.100 : and then your backups directory. Now, if you don't have a backups directory, what do? Well, you need to create one. So we will need to log into the remote system to do that. However, it's going to be kind of a neat thing we do now. We just type SSH, and I'm going to go ahead and log into the remote system with admin backup. We'll just do it that way. So SSH, that admin backup right there. Enter. Once I'm there, I'm going to choose sudo mkdir home backups. It says password. It's password. Okay, now I'm going to look at that directory, so I'll do ls-lh home. Good, it's there. Let's look at it. Oh, look, it's owned by root. I don't want it to be owned by root, so let's change the ownership. So sudo chown admin-backup.admin-backup home backups. And I'll put a -r in there for recursive, so it owns everything on the inside of it. Now if I go back and look at it again, you can see that I've got the backups directory there, and it's owned by admin backup. That's if you don't have somewhere already to put this stuff. So let's go ahead and exit. Now we're back over to our workstation again, and we can go back over to our workstation with this rsync command, and now we can tell it where we want it. Home backups, just like that. Now you notice I do not have a trailing slash on security right there, and I also do not have a trailing slash star for security. So what it's going to do, it's actually going to copy the directory itself over. So I can see how long it takes. I put a time on there and press enter. Now rsync is going to run until everything is backed up over on the remote host. That can take a little time depending on the size of your backup. Okay, we can see that took 18 seconds to copy that over, so that was quite some time to copy that over. Of course, if you're running multiple terabytes, it may take a little bit longer. But here we go. We've got the rsync, and we can also do on the rsync, you can actually zip things too. So if we go over here and put a Z on here, I'll just put a Z right there, and it will compress things on the synchronization over. So it's going to compress it on the sync over. Now let's go ahead and look at the other system, and I'm going to do a ssh admin-backup, and then the single quote here, I'm going to do it ls-lh home backups, because I want to see what's in the directory on the remote server. So I'm telling it to ssh, at 192.168.56.100 right there. I'm telling it to ssh as user admin backup at that server, and then run this command when you get there. And if I do, look at that. The security directory is there. So I've got security, and you can see the D there, that it is a directory. So I've got the security directory there. That's fantastic. I can look inside of it, so I can go like that and put a, do that and put a security after it, and look at what's inside of it. And sure enough, we have our contents inside of it. That's how you do a backup with rsync. Now you can notice that after you share those keys, you can rsync inside of a cron tab. So just put it in a cron tab, or create a script out of this, just a simple script, and run it from there. When I say a simple script, in fact, well, let's just look at that. That command we have, this command, I'll just copy this right here. In fact, time. No, we don't want time. We want it to be silent. So we have that, and we'll just make a script. I'll say VI. Let me pop out of this directory. There we go. I'm up one directory now. Now a VI, and I'll just say backup.sh. Inside the backup.sh, at the very beginning, I put bin bash, and then after bin bash, I tell it what I want to do. And that's what I want to do, except in this case, I'm going to use instead of a relative path, I'm going to use an absolute path. So I'm going to say backup security over to home backups like that. I'm not doing permissions on there, and rsync's going to go ahead and do that. So then I'll say, there we go, WQ. And after you do that, chmod this 775, just make it executable. And now if I run backup.sh, then it's going to back up everything to the remote host. Now there's a delete option where if I want to go through and delete files from the remote host, which once again, remember we saw that we have the files on the remote host. If we look over here, we can see that everything's there. But let's say, you know what? Everything that starts with an L, I'm going to delete it from this side. So I'm going to do rm-rf, add that security folder, L star. I'm going to delete everything with a star. So now if I do an LL on my local system, you'll notice the log directories and the lost and found. Those are gone. Okay. Well, what's going to happen? I want to go over, and we're going to look at this script again. I'm just going to cat it this time, backup.sh. And I'm going to make sure that we have -- delete inside this script. So let's VI that backup script, and I'm going to put -- delete. Now, there are abbreviations for almost all of these commands, but I'm going to put the full command in there. We're introducing this. And there are a couple of things is like, you know, you can look at size only for comparison, and -- progress to show you a progress bar as it works. And of course, you know, the V and the human readable, so as it goes across like that. So there are a lot of options there for rsync and lots of pages that you can go through. But let's go ahead and look at that delete there. Now let's run the backup script. Where is that backup? There it is. I'm going to run this backup script. It took a little extra time this time, maybe an extra half second. And now I'm going to go look at the directories on the remote system again. So I'm SSHing over. Notice I don't need a password anymore because I shared my keys. And I'm going to look in the security directory. When I pop over there and look, wow, the L directories are gone. They're gone from the other side. So I have gotten rid of the the L directories in here, the logs, log, and I believe they were lost and found, and we've gotten rid of them over on the remote host. So if you want to keep things completely synchronized, then you can run this and it'll just run back and forth. It'll keep everything synchronized. And so your first set will look exactly like your second set, or you could say your backups will look exactly like your operational files. You can do that. Then on the backup server, you could actually save those and save it as versions. So on the backup server, and this is going a little bit further, this is for backups only. We're going to go over admin backups. This is retention, admin-backup at 192.168.56.100. Now over here, we could go to etc log rotate d, and we could put in a backups like this kind of thing, and we would have something rotate in backups. But I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So I'm going to go over to the home backups directory. Inside of there, we've got security, but we could have backups run every evening or after it's complete from the workstation over. After the backups are complete, we can have it run through and then move that security directory or tar the security directory to a directory with a date stamp on it. So we could do a tar, and when I say a date stamp, if you type the word date, you'll get a date there. And if you use plus y, for instance, if you do those kind of, percent, what was that, percent, plus percent y. Yeah, we'll get that straight. Okay, plus percent y, and then you do percent m and percent d. I think it's like that. And no, let's see, that's minute. So month, day, that look about right. There we go. That's month, day. So let's say you've got a date stamp that you want to use. So you can type tar. I want to create something. I want to zip it. I want to create a file. The file name is going to have that date stamp in it. Dash security.tar.gz. And then what do I back up? I want to back up the security directory. I press that. It's going to run. Remember, if you're scripting this, you do not want output on your screen. That's going to clog up your email, or it's going to clog up everything from Cron Tab, letting you know, well, every single file that went through the process. So this is going to take probably about 5 minutes or so. It may take as little as 2 minutes or a minute to zip that, but that's the process there. Okay, the tar is done, so let's look in that directory. We're still over the backup server, and now we've got a backup right there. Now the advantage of doing this with a tar on the remote server, we can actually do this from any system because we have SSH access to it. But from scheduling it on this system right here, running this tar just like this is it gives us a date stamp and what we're backing up. Okay, well that's great. Guess what? It still left it there in the directory. So whenever we do our rsyncs and we do our deletes, then it will delete it out of this directory. So this will become smaller or larger depending on what the synchronization is, which is just kind of a really neat thing. Now, you can actually run this remotely. You don't have to run it from that system. You can run this from your local system. You don't have to do it here. So in the script, you can actually put the tar in the script itself. So copy that right there. Exit off the backup server. And then over here in our script, what we'll do, there we go, is after the rsync's done, then what we'll do is ssh admin-backup at 192.168.56.100, single quote, creating a file. Where are we creating the file? We're creating home backups like that. What are we creating? Well, we're creating /home security. That's the directory we're using. Finished. Okay, so now what this does is it backs up our stuff and then creates the same thing with the date stamp. Now, if you wanted an hour and minute on it, you could put hours and minutes in there. That would be not a problem. But this is now going to reflect every time you run your script, it's going to run a backup. And you can have it put output if you want. So you could say over here, if you wanted this, echo syncing like this, and then echo running backup. And I'll put a couple of dots there, ellipses, so we know it's running. And then over here, echo, process complete. There you go. If we do that process complete, we may want to just go through and do an SSH admin backup and then show the directory home like that. So now when we run this, which I'm going to go ahead and delete a bunch of stuff out of the security directory so we have something different. Let's just go in there. Let's see what we can delete. Let's delete just about everything. We'll just wipe this thing out. So we'll do an rm-f, and I'll say, anything that starts with an A down through anything with an S, we'll wipe that out. So we've wiped those out now, and oh, really? Got an A through S, I thought. Let's see. Huh, weird. All right, so we got a couple things in there, and now if I do a du-hs star, see how much we have. Good. This is going to be a lot shorter this time. Now I'm going to pop back up, and I'm going to run the backup script. So in the backup script, and here, just so we know what we're talking about, cat that backup script. We got this running now. So I'm going to run that backup script with this ./backup. It's going to sit there. It's going to back that thing up. And then let's say, oh, it could not find home security. We got to remove the leading slash. And these keys, the keys, all these visible little things right there, those can be a little bit annoying. You want to suppress that. There are ways to do that. So syncing, running backup, and it went through instead of removing the leading slash, and it said home security cannot stat that. And I probably messed up the backup script. Let me look. I sure did. Over here, that home security, it is home backups security. That's the advantage of looking at the script. At least running it one time where you can see it. So there, I forgot home backups. So we didn't get anything backed up, really. It was a mess. So we can run it again. I'll run it again. It'll run. It goes through and it does its tar. I'm just waiting. Okay, it did its tar. And now if we look at it, we can see we've got the, I need to give a little more instructions for that, don't I? Because I'm doing the home and we have backups directory there. So backups like this. So we have home backups. Now we can also do, instead of just day, we can do a %hour there as well. So we can do show what hour and what minute. We can do that as part of it. And so it changes it a little bit. And that way we can see it a little bit better. And we're running our backup script. Yeah, I've been a little bit sloppy with the backup script, and I don't have the, of course, I don't have it in a cron tab right now, so I'm not running it chronologically. I mean, in any kind of cron tab format where you can have this actually in your chronological table. Linux and Unix has a cron tab, which is etc cron tab, and you can put things in there. I recommend putting it there on the system side if it's a system process and not in the user cron tabs for system processes. Now you can see we've got our new backup there. The other backup was overwritten because I left the name the same. And then there's our security directory. So now every time we run it, if it's a different minute, so we do a ./backup, it'll go through and sync. It'll run the backup. And then, oop, there we go. We got another backup again. And we can keep doing that, or if you want to put the hour and minute on there so you're always safe, feel free. That's how you run backups with Rsync, and you can also run backups with tar. And that way you synchronize to a remote folder and then tar it on the other side. Of course, you can tar it on either side. That's compress it, tape archive. On either side, this is just one example of the many ways that we can run backups from a Linux system. I hope that this helped. If you need anything, please contact me anytime. Look forward to talking to you in the next video.